Several weeks ago, 36-year-old Eric Hutchinson married the love of his life, 34-year-old Samantha Miller. They had a beautiful wedding in South Carolina, and after the wedding reception, they took off in a golf cart. And at that moment, the woman in the thumbnail, who was driving drunk at over 3 times the legal limit, barreled into their golf cart at 65 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone. And Samantha Miller lost her life because of Jamie's actions. And Eric recalled one of the last things that Samantha had said was that she didn't want that night to end and that she was so happy. Instead, that night will be remembered by heartache and by tragedy and by grief by Eric and the rest of Samantha's friends and families. Jamie's actions robbed Eric of his wife and robbed the rest of her loved ones of her presence on this earth, which is already unforgivable. And on a side note here, there are a lot of people who drink and drive. And honestly, they are lucky that they were not the ones that did something like this, because it can really happen at any given day. If you decide to drink and drive, it's just luck that it wasn't you that did this. So please remember that and have the humility to remember that too. But what really got under my skin with this whole story was the transcripts of Jamie's conversations with her parents from jail came out. And what I saw there was appalling. And I'm going to go into it. So she said to her parents, "I can't believe this is my life. My whole life is going to be over. Oh my God, I just can't believe this happened to me. Why me? I'm going to be here for years and years." So she's making this about herself and selfishly thinking about her existence and what's going to happen to her now, when in reality, she's the one that robbed other people of Samantha's life. She took Eric's wife. She took Samantha from the rest of her friends and family. But yet all she can think of is herself, selfishly playing the victim, narcissistically playing the victim. And then it gets worse. She goes on to say to one of her friends, "It was just a freak accident," minimizing what happened. And then she said she expects not to do jail time because it was just a freak accident. And then she says, I quote, "There have been people that have killed people on purpose and they're gotten out on bond." And I'm listening to this whole thing and I'm like, how entitled are you? How socially uncalibrated are you? How selfish are you? How narcissistic are you? All of these things, this compounds her terrible actions already. It is bad enough your actions have cost someone their life, but then to play the victim, to minimize what you did, and then act entitled about it, that's just unforgivable. I mean, like I said before, many people drink and drive, and they are lucky that they don't do something like this too, but to compound it with all of this, it's just a disgrace. And this is why I think we are in an epidemic of self-absorption, an epidemic of emotional immaturity, and an epidemic of narcissism. People tell me, "Jared, you use that word too much. You're throwing it around too much." But it's like, look at how many people are acting this way. We are in an epidemic of people acting just like this. And here's the thing. There are a lot of people who may drink and drive, and honestly, if they were to do this, they might sound like this too. There's a lot of people out there who would play the victim, act entitled, try to minimize what they did, and in other words, just not take any accountability for it. But here's the right thing to do. The right thing to do would be to say you're so sorry for what you did, and to say, "I can't even begin to explain how sorry I am for taking away your wife and taking Samantha away from the rest of her friends and family," and saying, "Whatever jail time I get is what I deserve." That's humility. That's taking accountability. That's taking ownership for what you did. That's not playing the victim. That's not acting entitled, and it's not minimizing it. It's taking full responsibility for the gravity of your actions. Your actions caused the loss of life, that caused Eric to lose his wife. I mean, it's unforgivable. And this happens a lot. This kind of thing is not uncommon. And I just want people to see this is what narcissistic tactics can look like. Even after losing someone's life, even after being responsible for losing someone's life, they will still play the victim and act like they're the one that's getting a raw deal, not the friends and family and the husband of the person that lost their life because of your actions. It is just unbelievable that this is how she was talking. So I want this to get out there only because if you're going to make a terrible mistake, at least own up to it. At least take accountability and at least be humble about it. That's all I have.